Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about fun new developments in pricing and more. It's going to be a good one because we have Ronell Crawford on the show. Ronell, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm chilling.
Yeah, glad to have you on, man. Been keeping up with your stuff on some social stuff. Really always appreciate when I see you in the feed. How are you feeling about video games these days?
Hey, they're fun. I'm
Yeah, it's good
I'm having a
stuff.
blast. I'm having a blast as long as I'm offline with it. As long as I throw my phone out of a window and then just play the game. I'm having a blast. Yeah.
That's the way to do it, right? Is like, yeah, you just put it out of arm's reach, and then all that stuff immediately goes away, like a snap of the fingers. It's like it doesn't even exist anymore. It's good stuff. Yeah, I am excited to go to PAX. Hoping to see everybody there. We're getting ready. Some folks from the team are getting in there today. So if you're at PAX today, feel free to try to track them down, say hi. They will love that. And by they, I mean Mike. Definitely say hi to him. Me and Sean will get into town tomorrow. So Friday, if you want to come do this is the run Millionaire Edition. We'll be having that going on the show floor a couple times throughout the day. Come hang out with us. It'll be a good time. You guys can participate. So get in the audience, raise your hand if you want to be a part of it. It'll be a good time. Basically, I fly in and I go right to my hotel, drop my stuff off, and then go to the convention, and we start doing Millionaire. So hopefully there's no problems with the flight. Yeah, you know what? No complaints. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, cutting it close, but I'm excited about it for sure. But yeah, that means no episode tomorrow. So if you're listening to this now, this is the last episode of the week. So we're going to do the Bomb 12, and then we'll be back on Monday, I believe, right? No holiday. Yes, we'll be back on Monday. All right, so let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We're independent games media out here on our own. We need you at our back. If you go to giantbomb.com/join and become a premium member, we would really appreciate it. It goes a long way toward ensuring the future of independent games media. It gets you ad-free versions of our shows, gets you some premium shows that we're working on. Marry Me Tomodachi, The 9 Lives of Mr. Bastopheles. We recorded a new episode today that you'll get in a few weeks, or not today, this week, that you'll get in a couple of weeks. It was a lot of fun. That show continues to be very excellent. So do all the premium shows. So go check those out. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess here with Switch 2 games in the US will have different prices for their physical and digital versions. And Ronell, when I was trying to find the right headline for this story, everyone has a different perspective of whether it's like, oh, digital games will be less expensive or physical games are going to be more expensive. Now, Nintendo has weighed in on this, but we'll discuss it when we get to it. So let's go ahead and lay down the story here real quick. Nintendo has announced price changes to Switch 2 titles in the US, with digital versions costing less than their physical counterparts. From May 2026, new Nintendo titles exclusive to Switch 2 will have different MSRPs. Cost will depend on retail partners who, quote, set their own prices for digital and physical games. That's according to Nintendo. The platform holders said the change simply reflects the different costs associated with producing and distributing each format and offers players more choice in how they buy and play Nintendo games. The example here is, I believe it's, let's see, yes, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Pre-orders have started for that, and the game has a digital price of $60 and a physical price, or a suggested physical price of $70. This is something that has been happening in other territories, Ronell, for quite some time. I guess people were mentioning that this has been happening since the launch of the Switch 2 in Europe and countries around the world. But United States is we're the most entitled and the whiniest, so people are going to hear about it when changes happen here, and that's what we're going to do now. I get that Nintendo came out, Ronell, and said, no, we're not raising the price of the physical versions. We're giving you a discount on the digital version. And I'm struggling to wrap my mind around, like, you could say that, but to me, that this game always looked like it was going to be a $60 game. So in my head, what it looks like is the physical version's more expensive. And that gets to the nature of pricing, right? Where it's all made up. So the
Right.
idea that like there's a natural price and it's like you're going to get a discount or a premium on top of it is all kind of in our heads, right?
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, like you said, it's the choice of, was this going to be the 60 period, or is this them saying now we can raise the price and use the digital remaining 60 to say that the price is not actually being raised, which we
Right.
all know they always want to raise the price. It feels like that's how it always should have been, right? Digital should always
Hmm.
have been cheaper
Yeah,
than
this has been
physical.
a talking point for years, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for this to happen, coincidentally, as physical are demanded to be more expensive now because of everything that's going on, it does. Yeah, it does. A little question mark does come up for sure.
Yeah, it's and I see people in chat saying this is a good thing, right? Like the digital will be less than the physical, and I think had this happened 10 years ago, that would have been my position for sure. But as you pointed out, we know now, or at least at this point, where I've realized that these companies want to charge as much as they can possibly get away with. So my skeptical, cynical approach to this is like, what are they really trying to accomplish by doing this? It's like giving a discount on digital. Is it actually a discount? And what they're really trying to do is push people towards digital because they'll end up making more money at that lower price because of all the costs associated with the physical version. That's certainly a possibility. Uh, but it also just feels like, yeah, I mean, this gives them more room to maneuver and to, yeah, raise the price of physical versions or make people more comfortable with the idea of a physical version that costs more. Because, oh, yeah, it costs more to produce. We know that
Yeah,
the cost of production for a product actually rarely comes into play with the final pricing decision. They price it at what they can, like the most that they can get away with. So it's
yeah,
hard for me to like reverse engineer that and be like, oh, they have a good reason to do this, right?
yeah, yeah. Because in the same breath, uh, this probably won't be the last price increase, right? There's a strong
Right.
chance that like this is just the introduction, of like at some point maybe digital becomes 60 and physical becomes 80, 90,
Yeah.
right? Maybe they just kind of slow creep it up, and then slowly digital goes back into 65, 70, as they keep pushing it up. As
Yeah.
of right now, I can't say I'm too mad, but
Same.
I can see the future, right? Of like, dang it, that might suck in the future, but it is what it is for now.
Yeah. I think that's kind of where I'm at as well, where it's like, yeah, okay. I was expecting this game to be 60. I can pay 60 and get it. I'll get the digital version. I was always going to get the digital version. So this hasn't hurt me too much one way or the other. And I do understand the cost associated with the physical one. So if this is them saying, hey, we can keep making the physical version of the game if we have this higher price, oh, I can justify all that to myself and make it make sense. I think what you got at of we can see the future, we know where this goes, where this makes it easier for them to raise the price of the physical version, especially so that in a year's time when they do want to release that 3D Mario and they want to
Yeah,
have an $80 version on the shelf, a $90 version on the shelf in a couple of years.
yeah,
That's a lot easier to do now that you've decoupled these two things because you could still have the advantage of setting your digital price at the price that people have become very comfortable with, and then you
yeah.
get that profit margin on that side.
Do you see others kind of following suit with this collector's tax?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just where physical's going, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
collector's tax of we are going to have smaller batches. We're going to print fewer games. We're talking about next gen PlayStation, next gen Xbox. I mean, Ronell, do you think those things launch with disk drives built in, or are they going to be external drives at best?
Yeah, yeah, they're for digital, 100% for digital.
Yeah,
Um, Which, I'm on a crossroad though, because I really don't buy physicals unless it's something that I just like the IP of. I like and I love, right? The last one I bought was like Baldur's Gate 3, right?
yeah,
Like just because I wanted to have it. So for me, not huge deal, but I have friends who like to, have the physical. Will I be more enticed if the base physical have a little something that comes with it, right? Like the old days of like she used to come with like a watch, you know what I mean? Like
right.
stuff like regular games, like base, not even collector's edition, used to come with cool stuff. So if they start doing that and then give us the collector's tax, could be something. Could be something. I could be interested in that.
Yeah, and I think that is the direction this all heads it heads in that the physical versions will have to feel even more special, And then that means that there will be fewer of them, and that means the price will be higher. And that sort of becomes a self-perpetuating cycle of the people left over who are actually purchasing these things are the least price sensitive among us, and like value these things higher. So that price just keeps going up and up and up over time. I think that when we get these new consoles, they at the very best they do have external drives, so they are going to be
Sold
in a natural.
separately.
Yeah, sold separately, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that means that it automatically becomes like the vinyl market of today, where when a band releases an album and they want to sell something at a premium price to their biggest collectors, people who just want to have a physical thing to either mount on a wall or keep in a collection, they can do that. But most people don't have record players, so that's just like, yeah, that is for, they know who that's for, and they target that audience with the most, like the highest quality thing possible to charge the highest price possible. We're not that far away from that.
That feels ugly that you said vinyl. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know, I get it, and it is the truth. But golly, PlayStation and Xbox, Nintendo physicals going the way of the vinyl, where it's like something special for the old heads out there, sounds crazy. But it is actually probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, yeah, I don't blame anyone in the moment for being like, yeah, this is fine and potentially even good. We've been asking for this for years. It's just every time we ask for something and we get it, it's for me, it feels like in video games and really in capitalism as a whole, it's always a monkey paw. It's always the finger curling on the monkey paw of like, oh, we didn't realize that this thing that we wanted went with all of these costs that we didn't even think about because we're not psychopaths running, CEOs of these corporations.
Yeah. And they always give us the price increase, but never the price decrease, right? If everything went perfectly from here on out, it would still not change.
Right. If like the economic conditions that they operate in suddenly like went back 10 years and they're like, all the costs are back to what they were, they would not give us those price increases back. Yeah. No way. All right. Fox McCloud is officially appearing in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Nintendo and Universal have announced a major crossover appearance for the Super Mario Galaxy movie a week before the film's release. Announced on social media on Thursday, the Super Mario Galaxy movie's official profile revealed that Star Fox protagonist Fox McCloud will appear in the sequel. It's just a poster for the movie, Ronell. It's Star Fox there in all his glory. They're not trying to hide it. He's not in the background. He is the star of this poster. It's pretty wild to see. People thought that they saw Star Fox McCloud in the background of some videos. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. That feels like something, a brief cameo. Now, the way that they're positioning it could be more than that, maybe a less brief cameo. But what does this say to you about their plans for A, his appearance in this movie, B, Star Fox's future in other movies, and then C, Star Fox in video games? What do you think?
Still no Star Fox in video games. Don't look forward to that. You got
Sorry,
at least
Sean.
10 years. Yeah, not having. Hey, look, this makes us want to marvel up the whole thing, right? Now we got Star Fox. Now we're getting Kirby. Now we're getting, Metroid next in the movie. We're getting everybody. Put your hopes to the ceiling because everything you ever dreamed of is happening. But hey, I think people have been waiting for my boy Fox to come back for so long. Anything would be cool. Personally, I would love like a nice little small game first, nothing too crazy, just a nice little $40 banger. Would be great. I think that would be perfect to start off with Star Fox. Don't give us a super high production one yet. I don't think people are really ready for it. But let this come out, let his fan base build even more, and I think we could have some more Fox in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely just want them to kind of maybe do a Star Fox remaster collection with like the Super Nintendo in its original version, and then give us it in a weird 60 frames per second version. That would be cool and weird. Do the same thing for Star Fox 64. Kind of update Zero so that we can play it on something that's not a Wii U. Kind of put all those together, and then maybe a few of the other side games, the Namco one, even Star Fox Adventures. Bring all that stuff back, let people get reacclimated to it. And then I think a future of Star Fox would be just to make it very stylized. Either stylized in the direction of, what if we had Super Effects graphics chips today, the thing that made the polygons work on the Super Nintendo back then? What would it look like if that technology just got introduced now? Something along those lines, or something maybe anime inspired, animation inspired, or like the puppets they had for that one E3 showcase. Something just very stylized, just to make it feel
Yeah.
like it stands out, could go a long way. And then the gameplay can be the very familiar Star Fox gameplay. As far as
Yeah.
as far as his appearance in the movie, I do expect it to be kind of a substantial cameo, so that they can set up the Marvel
Yeah.
MCU-ness of it all, where they have to be working toward a Smash Brothers, right? That's such a popular brand. It's
Yeah.
so popular with such a wide and varying demographic set that it's just like, yeah, that should probably be the end goal. And it also helps that they are probably looking at having some new version of Smash Brothers, probably Smash Brothers Ultimate Deluxe or whatever, in the next
Mm.
year or so. And it's like,
Year?
yeah, I mean, they like to have it in the second year of their consoles, right? So I do think that they're going to try to have something so they could sell it throughout the entire generation. That's what they like to do
Mm.
with Smash Brothers. I know it's weird because Ultimate feels so ultimate in the definition of the
Yeah.
word, but they'll find some way to sell that to people again, I think.
Right. Right. I can imagine. I can imagine it. I think that I would have liked for it to have been a surprise in the movie.
Yeah,
I,
it's weird, right?
Yeah, like that would have been a huge. We would have went crazy if we would have
Yeah,
seen that in the movie theater. Um, so now we have to deal with like how much is going to be enough, right? Like, because at first, if he had just passed by, we would have went crazy. Great,
right.
spectacular time. But now he has his own poster. They're pushing it 4 days before the movie comes out. Now we're thinking he has to have a substantial talking role where it's like he's walking and talking
It's
for a
it's
while.
escalation. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're already we're already talking about his like him getting his own movie or him
yeah,
showing up in Smash Brothers. That's where we're at mentally. So that means, yeah, you're right. Like his appearance in this movie has to feel like worthy of all of this excitement and worthy of that poster. And I'm with you.
yeah.
Where in my head I keep building it up to be more and more and more, and maybe it won't be. But
Mhm.
yeah, they chose to put him out there up front, like a week before the movie's out, saying, "Come see this movie because Star Fox is in it.
Yeah.
Fox McCloud is in this." And it's okay. So, how, like, what does that appearance look like? And then what are the surprises they're holding back? Like,
Yeah,
there's got to be even
exactly.
more,
Yeah,
right?
'cause that's where I'm at now. I'm like, all right, they put this out there in the front, so this isn't even a big one for them. Maybe there's someone now Kirby's coming. You know what I mean? Like that
Hmm.
at the end of the movie. That's where I'm at. Or none of that happens. Right? Very strong chance that like we don't get anything too crazy. It's just a nice ending with a nice little Easter egg of the next movie coming, and they have to do this for marketing now. I feel like they didn't, but who knows? What do I know? You know what I mean? Like they have whatever they have statistics and surveys that say they need to reveal the entire movie before it comes
Of
out. I don't
course,
know.
right.
Yeah,
No, I mean, you're not wrong. Like Illumination feels very much like that company that has done all that data, acquiring all that data so they can see the best way to promote their movie. And you're right, they could just be following a playbook, being like, "What character do we have that feels different and exciting? Oh, Fox McCloud, he's in there for a second. Put him
yeah,
on a poster." Nothing would stop them from doing that,
right.
and because it's all about, they're just trying to get that one inciting moment where you buy a movie ticket, right?
Yeah,
And
and
when
then
if
now it's over.
anything, yes, anything, yes, and then it's over. Whatever, whether you enjoy the movie or not, is almost, it doesn't matter at that point. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if this helps facilitate that, they absolutely would do it, regardless of the actual appearance and it's how much it matters to the final film. I'm
Yeah,
getting excited though. Seeing
for
stuff like
sure.
this is pretty cool. I definitely hope they are building up to a cool Smash Brothers thing where these characters can get, maybe Fox McCloud's not going to get his own movie, but
Yeah.
if there's a show that happens where like a bunch of these characters can have their own episodes, their own arcs, and that builds up to a Smash Brothers movie, I would welcome that.
My question is, what characters would have to be in the Smash Brothers movie for it to be a Smash Brothers movie?
Right. I
Right?
mean,
We have Mario,
you probably need that original, like the 64
the
cast. Oh,
64. Okay. So
yeah, I
Ness
think.
would have to get an appearance at some point.
I mean, Ness or an equivalent, right? Like there's a strong chance that they're like, okay, maybe we're not going to do Ness because our situation with Mother and Earthbound is weird right now. But we would
Mhm.
have to swap in someone from the wider eventual Smash Brothers
Mm.
cast that feels equivalent. So
Sonic.
Yeah, not. That's actually not a bad idea. Sonic could show up in something like this. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone involved between Illumination, Nintendo,
Yeah.
Sega, and Paramount, right? If they're all
Mhm.
like, come on, we're not.
Yeah.
We're only helping
Let's
each
get
other
this
at this
money.
point.
Yeah,
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 let's get that money.
yeah.
So yeah, I think they build up to a small roster that feels
Mhm.
equivalent to the N64 one, and then they go from there. That gives them a lot of room for
For sure.
sequels to grow in, years and years and
Forever.
years. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, let's keep going here. Everybody, I know it's Thursday, but we're gonna celebrate Shut the Fuck Up Friday just a little bit early because everyone needs to chill about this. I did not include this story yesterday because I'm like, maybe it won't break wide, and then I saw it everywhere. So everyone needs to chill about Tomodachi Life living the dream, having no profanity filter. All right, we want this game to launch in a way where we can just get very weird with this game. And I do not know how Nintendo is going to feel about all of these, like the immediate first clips I saw, Ronell, of this game, where people be like, here's a bunch of words that refer to human genitalia, and we're just going to throw that, and that's going to be the name of my city in Tomodachi Life. And it blew up. I'm like, I know Nintendo does want to give us that freedom, but they're going to probably have those conversations again after this early
Yeah.
sort of surge of excitement about this game. It does seem like that filter is very limited if it's there at all. I think that's what led to Nintendo. Like they thought about this, Renault, where there is the built-in screenshot and video sharing is turned off for this game specifically because of this stuff. So they've already sort of seemingly made their choice of like, we know probably what's going to happen with this game. How can we sort of limit the bad feelings that we would have if there was a bunch of stuff being shared that makes this game look like it's crazy and potentially, obviously profane, but potentially filled with hate speech. And they're like, how do we sort of mitigate that? They came up with a solution and it immediately didn't work. So I could see them being like, we got to sort of undo this. And I want to have that freedom because this game is about my ability to sort of express myself and have the game express itself back to me in ways that surprise me. And I want all those options there. And I don't want to sort of be limited by the worst people among us maybe using this game in a way. Although I just can't imagine those people coming to Tomodachi Life. So hopefully that's not a problem. Maybe it will be. But I don't know. How do you view this? Do you think that this game is going to get to a 1.0 release with this profanity filter not in place?
Ah, man, it's tough. It's tough because every time they take away the filter, they always regret it, right? Every
Yeah,
time they give us that freedom, they always are like, "All right, let's sorry, no more." And it's always because of the worst, right? I think of like Black
right,
Ops emblems, right? Creating your own, like or like anything
right.
really. yeah,
Anything. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely anything.
And Nintendo, I don't know. It's tough. They're gonna put it back for sure.
I,
They can't deal with it. Like it's gonna be too ugly.
they're going to have those conversations for sure, and they're having them right now.
Yeah,
And there's going to be people who are like, "I told you so,"
for sure.
and those people are going to be the lawyers who run a big part of like Nintendo of America,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, I think you're right. My hope is it's something that gets implemented in an update so we can have like a 1.0 on the card that is
Mhm,
pure. It could be a ROM file that gets shared, so we have
mhm.
an easy access or a way to easily access this in perpetuity once that becomes the option there. Uh, that still feels like a possibility because this game's coming out very soon, but I think they'll probably update it with a filter. And hopefully it just doesn't get too aggressive. Just,
Yeah,
don't allow the
because
hate
it
speech
only
stuff.
takes 2 or 3 like viral posts for them to say let's just
Yep.
reel it back. The only way I can see this surviving is unless the opposite side of the spectrum happens where you get really cool, really like fun, innovative stuff that they can push like kind of in front of it.
Right.
That can kind of make them say, well, there's some weirdos, like, but like, look at this cool stuff.
Right, and the others. There's even another flip side of it of people who are like, "No, I'm sorry, like my name is just like Christian Gaylord, and it's
No.
not letting me use my Christian name in here
Yeah,
because it has the word gay in it. It's like that's just what that's my name. What can I do
yeah.
about that? And now I can't have myself represented in the game because of this aggressive filter. And they
Mm,
don't want that either. They do want people to feel like anything is possible, and you can escape the world and go into this Tomodachi life and have anything happen, and you don't have to worry about the rules of society and all this stuff.
mm,
And that's what they're going for. That's why they
mhm.
prioritized having a very limited filter and then not letting you share the videos and the clips and the screenshots.
Right.
But yes, this
The
this
funny thing
couple of days, I might change their mind.
Yeah, the funny thing is too, like I do believe that had they maybe just weather the storm and not really say anything about it. Like after like the first, week or two, like people it's going to die off. Like that those attention seekers won't get they'll find something else to try and seek that attention from, and then like they
Yep,
can just have the freedom, their cake and eat it too. But
exactly.
it's weathering that storm. That's a gamble.
Yep, exactly. It's like these early days where that's where they're trying to sell this game, and they're very, it's Nintendo. They're very sensitive about this stuff. So, and they think about all these things. Are like, do they really think about that? They absolutely do.
Yeah.
So yeah, the early days is when this will be a problem, and then a month from now, when this game is just another game that's out, this will no longer be a conversation point. So hopefully, the game can get to there, and we can the cool people can just have this cool game, and we don't have to worry
Right.
about the freaks trying to ruin it for everyone else. All right, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after some ad messages. If you want to skip out on these ads, you can do so. You become a member by going to giantbomb.com/join. There you can find ad-free versions of the video and audio program. Go ahead and grab those. In the meantime, we will be right back. We're back. It's Game Mess Morning still. That's Ronell Crawford. I'm Jeff Grubb. We're getting back into the headlines with more AAA games are reportedly costing $300 million or more to make. This is from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Ever see reporters say a game, quote, only sold 1 million copies, as if that's nothing to be proud of? Well, we might now know why. It's no secret that AAA budgets have ballooned in the last decade or so, but it now seems that the cost of making a game is getting to a point where it's almost impossible to make that money back unless you create a generational hit. Speaking on Blue Sky, Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier explained while most publishers avoid giving concrete data on their budgets for AAA games, the figures he's hearing from developers are $300 million or more, and sometimes much more. This, according to Schreier, quote, helps explain the current state of the industry. He notes that these numbers are primarily for US and Canadian developers, and that the majority of these budgets are spent on developer salaries and have very little to do with executive compensation, most of which is apparently stock. Looking at the numbers, a game on a $300 million budget needs to sell at least 6 million copies at $70 a piece to break even. And that's kind of what I'm hearing about Marathon. Marathon is what stoked this conversation, Ronell, where I was talking to some sources, and this is before the game was coming out, but they were like looking at some numbers, and it's like, yeah, this thing looks like it's going to do between 1 and 2 million copies at launch, and what it really needs to do is between 7 and 9 million to justify the cost of operating Bungie, which is the cost of making a game. I think people have this idea of like, well, you can't just take the salaries times the number of years times the number of people and then put all that together and come up with the cost of making a game. It's like, no, that's exactly what you do, because the people are the ones making the game. That's where the costs come from. And when you do that for American salaries, especially like on the West Coast, where a lot of these developers used to be, and more and more frequently are not at, because the studios are closing these, or the publishers are closing these studios, you get a very, very high number that was $200 million 5 years ago, and it's got to be creeping up because those salaries have increased. The demand for those developers went up a ton during the pandemic, and you kind of can't take that back at a certain point because you got to maintain those people or close the studio. So obviously that $300 million number, we look at that, and Ronell, I knew we would end up here, and it felt unsustainable, but I don't know what we do about it now. It just feels like, yeah, we're going to have to just stop doing that, right?
Yeah. Like, I wonder it's a little bit of like, they got to shoot for the stars, right? We don't want them to not want to make try and make the next biggest hit.
Right.
Like
We're so used to that in games.
Yeah, like that's cool in theory, right? However, the chances of it happening, man, it's just so slow. Even for a Bungie, you know what I mean? Like even for a Bungie, like the timing, everything has to be so perfect for them to hit that banger out of the park that like it's just like they just released it after Arc Raiders, and now there was no chance of them doing that, right? Like,
yep.
There's just too many variables. People aren't buying new games. It's ugly. We just gotta reel it back. Find a way to make a cool game. That's $40. That's small. Take a couple years, to make, and just reel the whole thing back. It's bad.
It's like unsustainable has been the word for a decade. And it's because this like the market forces that led us to this point where games cost $300 million, like those just have not been dealt with because it's kind of the only way to stand out if you're making a game. Like that's what you're the point you started with. Like we don't necessarily want developers and publishers to not try to make the best game possible. And if you say as a publisher to your team of developers in Los Angeles, go make the best game possible so that we can stand out on the shelf when being compared to every other game, the one sort of weapon you have in your toolkit is spend more money than anyone else does making this game. Get the best developers, let them have the most amount of time just working on this thing, and that necessarily leads to a very expensive product. And
Yeah.
you do that because that helps market the game, because you could say you've never seen anything like this before. Now, there are obviously a handful of studios who have found alternative paths, games that are almost certainly still very expensive, but like From Software's got their own voice and their own
Yeah.
way of saying this game, you must play this game regardless of how much time it took us to make or whatever. Like there's another reason you're coming here other than just the visual polish. And Nintendo has sort of broken themselves away from that decades ago when they went from the GameCube to the Wii. And they're like, we're going to stop chasing these high-end trends. We're going to just make our own stuff, stay in our lane. But they're Nintendo, and not everyone's Nintendo. There's just not a lot of ground to go to if you're one of these other publishers that, when I say Electronic Arts, no one's getting the warm and fuzzies about Electronic Arts. Electronic Arts kind of has no choice but to make a game that's more expensive than anyone else.
Yeah, yeah. Or of course, like what they're clearly already doing too is finding some sort of cash cow and then
Yeah.
making the games, right? Like Electronic
That's
Arts
why,
is good, right? they're good. FIFA, Madden, Ultimate Team, people
Apex
spending
Legends even for a while, yeah.
Apex Legends, people spend $100,000 a year on these games.
Yep.
They can make whatever they want, at least for the most part. A lot of other companies can't do that. I can't even imagine what they could do. Again, I always say that I see microtransactions as a muzzle, like obviously a lot of us don't like them necessarily, but hey, we can keep games alive with them. And right now they're the best bet for gamers, right? Because I could choose not to buy them, right? And they don't affect the game, right? And it keeps the game cost low, price low. So they need to come up with something like that, like in more, maybe more microtransactions. I don't even know.
No, that has definitely been the strategy for the last couple of years, right? It's like, let's find our game that we can make that can be a microtransaction factory, and we can go after the whales, and that could be our lottery ticket that pays for everything else. But I think we've seen that the appetite for that has certainly diminished, and there's just people have chosen their hobby game where they are willing to spend $100,000 on a game in a year. Like the people that are willing to do that have their game already, and the idea that you're going to be able to peel them away after they've already made that investment in that other game, or you're going to be able to create new versions of those whales. It's like, no, this market is a certain size. It's going to grow over time for sure, but you're not going to be able to like manufacture that excitement for one of these games out of nowhere, even when it's very good. Like in the case of Marathon, it's going to take many years for you to sort of build up in a Warframe style way, I bet, of just keep delivering on the hits here. And every time you have a new expansion, there's going to be more players. And if you do a really good job, like a Warframe, you can do that. But that is not the business model that Bungie's operating on. It's too expensive.
For sure. And even like a Warframe, which again came out, so long ago, where people were still choosing games, like people have already all picked their teams, their size, they got their war zones, etc. People aren't picking new games, man. They're just not interested in new games. The only thing, again, thinking like, other than a gaming quarantine, where no new games come out for like a couple of years, and people's excitement build again, where people love games again, or are thirsty, right? That's like the only thing I could see remedying this entire situation.
Yep, it's I think that it's a fever in the industry of like chasing after these bigger returns by spending more money on your games. It is a bit of a sickness, a symptom of the capitalist system that we're in, of course. And I think at a certain point, it does sort of have to just break. And that means I feel like we're in the middle of it. This industry feels like it has sustained a not fatal blow, but a very damaging blow to the way people feel about the excitement that people hold for games. And I think that what you just described is going to happen, and we're in the middle of it a little bit. A lot of people have just tuned out. We got Epic Games, I think, has deeper problems than people got a little bit less engaged in Fortnite, but people have been less engaged in Fortnite. And it's like I even myself, I would see Fortnite clips in the past on social media, and I would be like, okay, what's going on here? And now I see it, I'm like, oh, Fortnite
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
I'm like rolling my eyes hard. It's like they've like lost
Yeah.
me for good here.
Exhausted. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
complete. They've exhausted me, right? Exactly. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And
Mhm.
at the same time, a lot of people still feel like those are still the games that are my option. Yeah, there's some other
Mhm.
stuff over here, but I had so much fun in the heyday of Fortnite. I'm looking to feel like that again, but my option's still just Fortnite and a couple of other games that are inspired
Yeah.
by Fortnite. I think they're
Because
going to have to sit on the sideline for a couple of years. This industry is going to have to come up with a bunch of innovative new ideas. Right now, that is friend slop, and that has been working in a
yeah.
really good way. But
Mhm.
for that budget of like a $40 game, a $50 game, a $60 game plus, they're going to have to come up with innovative new ideas that really like invigorates these people again. And we feel pretty far away from that in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and because it's also because of like the culture in general, right? People aren't really
Yeah.
curious in games, but also people aren't really excited and jumping into new games that everyone isn't talking about, right? Like people was
Yeah.
very excited for Fortnite. Fortnite feels like such a huge thing, and it was, but because everyone was a part of it, right? Like everyone downloaded it and played it, right? They're looking for a big moment. Apex, everyone downloaded and played it. Like though Arc Raiders, Helldivers, everyone downloaded and played it because it was spreading like wildfire on social media, and it was just
Right.
big. That excitement and like that cultural moment where everyone wants to be a part of it is just happening less and less likely to happen. So that even if your game is amazing, if you don't rally the social media to become like fun and clippable and all that stuff, people see the game as lesser. Like
Yeah.
Steam numbers got to be up there, like at a
Yeah.
certain time, like together. It's ugly. Do they, like you said, friend slop is pretty good. Do they start to leech off of like indie game stuff, right? Like you have a indie game
Absolutely.
that's there,
Yes.
and you just jump on those,
I
like you
mean,
just become a angel
or
investor, you know?
yeah, like you mean like directly getting involved in like just saying, hey, that any game is working. Yeah, for sure. All these companies are always being like, here's our new publishing initiative. That will happen.
Mhm.
I mean, I think for sure what's happening is a company like Epic is let's fire 1,000 people so we could save some money. Sit back and wait for what we did last time, which was
Mm.
we put out Fortnite and it wasn't the Fortnite we know today. It was a different game. And then PUBG happened and they're like, we're making that now and
Yeah.
they're gonna wait for that to happen. They are gonna look at early access and they're gonna look at the indie space, wait for some like very smart development team, probably coming out of nowhere,
Yeah.
releasing a new idea that just is like a very cool thing, and then a company like Epic will be like, can we make the slick version of that for the masses?
Mm.
And we're gonna sort of just wait on the sideline and try to save some money and operate in a maintenance mode, which is a
Mhm.
crazy thing to say about Fortnite, as big as that is. And they'll
Yeah.
still take their money from Disney and make all the Disney related stuff, whatever. But they're going to
Yeah.
wait for that next big inflection point that they can hop on and go from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bad news for them on that side of things is it is getting to the point where those indie games are looking and feeling and comparing to the biggest games in the world.
Mhm.
And maybe we won't need the slick version of
Yeah.
that. The indie version we get just will be that slick for most
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That will work maybe once or twice, but then people
once
are
or
immediately
twice.
gonna they're switching gonna flip and say, "Oh, no, you're just making a ugly knockoff of it." Because it's crazy because the exact opposite of the perception of AAA games is happening with the indie games, right? AAA games, you need the polish, you need the budget, you got to be big, you got to be huge,
Right.
you got to be cool.
Uh-huh.
Everyone has to be playing it. With the small indie, quote unquote, friend
Got to be
slot
a weird
games,
little freak.
gotta be a fucking ugly, random, weird thing that low key no one really heard about yet, but you're
Uh-huh.
hopping on it first. You know, so they're like the hipster like things that's going on, and I'm a part of it. I
You
downloaded that
same.
Super Battle Golf thing like real quick, played it once or twice, it was out of there. You know,
Yeah.
it's just such a it's all a weird thing right now for sure.
Yep. It's I'm looking forward to how the indies kind of approach all this stuff because they will have cool ideas, and I love that stuff. These big companies are going to have to figure something out because $300 million, the market just can't support
Yeah,
multiple games like that.
yeah,
Spider-Man, yeah, that's going to sell enough. The Spider-Man games being $300 million, you're going to sell enough there to make everyone involved happy. Although I'm sure they wish they could get the price down of that.
yeah.
One quick note on this before we move on. There's always that talking point of Ghost of Tsushima cost $60 or $60 million, excuse me, to
Mm,
make. And that number apparently came from some LinkedIn profile from someone who left the studio 4 years before that game came out. That number's certainly not real. That game costs more than that. I bet, relatively speaking, Ghost of Tsushima is not as expensive to make as a Naughty Dog game, but I bet it's still pretty expensive. More than $100 million for sure, and probably quite a bit more than that.
And that's what we probably get more of, just the same IPs, right? Like we just get just IPs.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean,
just
once they have one
popular
that
IPs
works.
that already happened. Yeah.
Right, because every money you spend on making a new Horizon game, right? That's like you're spending $1, but it feels like you're spending like 75 cents because the money is not just going toward making that game, it's going toward broadening Horizon, and everything like pays for itself because now more people are buying that version of Horizon and they care more about the TV show, and the TV show gets people back into the games. They view it as this network that feeds on itself, and they're going to try to keep replicating that. But that also gets to the point of like, oh, now you're sprawling in all these directions. What if people wake up one day and the majority of people be like, I don't care about Horizon anymore? Like that happened with Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones, like people, they're still making Game of Thrones TV shows, and like I guess the latest one's very, very good. That series is not anywhere near the peak of what Game of Thrones was at its height. Although I guess the show is still growing very much. But people get what I mean. Like it was the cultural zeitgeist there for a moment. And then everyone woke up. It's like, I'm kind of over this. That happens. So there's risk involved in all of this. All right. 8 PlayStation studios have closed since PS5 was launched. Jonas Mackey over at Game Reactor just did a quick timeline here. In 2020, Manchester studio closed. In 2021, they closed Japan studio, travesty. In 2023, Pixel Opus closed. Then they closed London studio, Firewalk, and Neon Koi in 2024. And then this year, they have closed Blue Point Games and Dark Outlaw Games. So this story goes hand in hand with that last story, right? Where the cost of making big games is rising. Therefore, you have to put your bets on the most surefire things. And that means if anything has a question mark around it, it immediately is like on the chopping block. And a Blue Point Games where it's like, obviously, you know how to use a Blue Point Games. You take them, you put them on X or Y, you let them loose for 3 or 4 years, then you sell that, and it's going to be a remaster or remake of some cool game. And it's just so easy to make that make sense. And when the other game costs $300 million or more to make, suddenly a Blue Point Games makes less sense, and they close the studio, let alone any of these other ones. Dark Outlaw, which was going to be, you know, the Call of Duty Zombies guy, that was going to be his new game, and they gave him like multiple chances. The Firewalk was his previous studio. So yeah, this goes hand in hand, right, with the rising cost of making games.
Yeah. Small demos on popular games, bring those back. Crash teaming up with Spyro for a demo. All right, give us the demo. Let us see if we even like it. If we like it, love it. Maybe you keep going on with production. I don't know. They got to do something different.
Oh yeah, like early access for some of these bigger games, or like a prototypes.
Like barely, not even early access. You know, like like tell us about the writing of the story, like before you even get involved with anything.
Right. Someone mentioned to me recently, I can't remember, I think it might have been Phil Salvador on the show yesterday, that like apparently developers have begun doing the thing of they have a trailer for their game, and then based on whether or not it gets enough wish list on Steam, then they'll decide whether or not they're going to make it. And I kind of like that idea. Like it means there's going to be a lot of that. Like you might be messing around with trust a little bit. But if people don't wish list the game, you broke trust with people who weren't going to buy that game. And you could probably get them back if you release another trailer that they think is dope. And so that's definitely along those lines of what you're getting at. And I think you're right that the developers and publishers need to get a little bit more creative at like, can we sniff out people's excitement a little bit early and start building a story, a narrative around here's why this game matters, here's why it's cool, and here's why you're gonna want to pay attention.
And unfortunately, I think they got to pay more attention to, again, everything has to be stylized now. It has to look cool, like in clips. Like it has to look cool. Like whatever you put out, it gotta just be like, holy crap. You know what I mean? Like by like the style, not even the story, the cat, the character, none of that. It has to just look cool at the very least, which, you know, I'm not the hugest fan of, 'cause I'm a gameplay over anything else guy, but it has to just look fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, it's like if you can make the style and the animation enhance the gameplay. It's like that's my
Yeah.
butter zone right there. That's
Yeah,
what I want.
because that's what happened already with the Rock Band game or the new Guitar Hero game.
Hmm.
It's Guitar Hero, right? We know what Guitar Hero is. We just want more Guitar Hero. But it came out and people are like, "Oh, this looks kind of ugly." You know, like
Yeah.
also who cares? It's Guitar Hero. You know what I mean? Like it's those characters are in the background of something you're not looking at. They're literally peripheral vision characters.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter. It has to look cool.
Yeah, it's got to look good in that gift to make people feel good
Yeah.
about spending the money for sure.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, in a post like Tetris Effect world, right, where
Yeah.
that's just Tetris, and it's the
Yeah.
gameplay is perfect. You don't need to do anything. But
Yeah.
like, we have some ideas, and we're going to sell those ideas by pairing it up with crazy visuals and awesome audio design. It's like, oh yeah, that
Yeah.
does work. I get it, and it looks good in gifts.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, PlayStation closed a lot of studios over the last 6 years. Probably not done yet either. We still haven't heard about what's going on with Fair Games. It feels like one of these days we're just going to wake up and be like, oh
For
yeah, of
sure.
course that studio's done, and that game's
For
never
sure.
coming out. But we'll see. All right. The RAM crisis is forcing super popular kids console to raise prices again. This is from Zach Zweisen at Kotaku. The Next Playground, a kids-focused motion control console that exploded in popularity last year, is the latest bit of video game tech to announce a price increase directly connected to the ongoing RAM shortage caused by AI hyperscalers rushing to build data centers. On March 25th, in an open letter posted online, Next CEO and co-founder David Lee announced that starting next month, the company's flagship console, the Next Playground, will receive a $50 price increase, bumping from $250 to $300. This is the second price increase in less than 2 years. So, okay, so yeah, the damn's right. Because think about this: like, we are talking about new hardware coming out or whatever, and we're talking about, is the Switch 2 going to get a price increase? This is a tiny little box that like was always meant to be very cost effective. It came out years ago, and it costs $300
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
That is what you would pay for a Switch 1 in 2017. Like that
Yeah.
is, and that that was a long time ago, and that was underpowered itself. Um,
Right.
so
It's a cool
this thing,
device too.
I like the Next Playground. We actually got it. Crazily, my wife got one for free. She actually got two for free as part
Mm,
of this deal group that she's in, because they were
mm,
kind of just giving these things away a couple years ago, and then they charge you on a subscription thing on the
mhm.
backside. It's like, okay, cool. And now it just took off in the last year. It's like, yeah, that thing was neat. It's like a Connect for the right audience.
Yeah.
It's like that Tommy Tallarico in television, the Amico television, but like
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
good and makes sense.
Right.
Um, and this thing now costs $300. They don't want it to be that expensive. They want it to be an impulse purchase at the holidays for families.
Yeah.
So if this thing needs to be $300, we are certainly looking at a
Yeah.
PlayStation 6 that has to be $800,
Ugh.
maybe even more. It stinks out
Oh.
there right now. What do you think?
I know 250 to 300 sucks, right? Is it changing that 2 to 3? GG's,
Yeah.
right? If this was 225 to 275,
Uh-huh.
maybe, right? But
Uh-huh.
300 is a whole nother thing. We're 100% getting those price increases, and people already are not looking forward to the console. Like, I don't know anyone who's like, all right, I'm ready to turn in my
No,
PS5.
no one.
Like, and no one is saying that, and I don't think they will for at least 5 more years. Like, I don't think people are ready at all. So with plus a price increase, plus the fact that it will have AI, so we're going to be looking at the thing that we don't want that's causing the price
Causing all
increase.
these problems.
Like
Yeah.
the pain will be right in front of us, and they're going to market it as such. Like they're gonna new AI thing where you could do this and do that, and we're going to be upset. We're not going to be happy for it. Like it's going to be ugly. I don't think we're going to see. We haven't seen anything like what this next generation will be
Yeah, I mean,
like.
what you're describing, it's like it could be a bloodbath, like
Yeah.
in terms of people not showing up for the new console unless they are given a real, tangible, like FOMO possibility. FOMO's all they're going to have in
Mhm.
terms of just like you have to have an exclusive game. You just can't get anywhere else. That's better
Yeah.
than everything else. That's a
Yeah.
pretty tall order on its face. And if you
Yeah.
don't have that, how are you going to convince anyone to spend the money on that new console? And the answer might be they won't be able to. And people might just sit back with their PS5s and be happy because all the games they're playing and probably all the games will come out for the next couple of years after the PS6 is there will come
Mhm.
out on that console. And it's
Yeah.
like that. It could just be a cliff that these companies are headed toward, and I don't know
Yeah.
how they deal with that.
Yeah, this one might actually be pretty bad.
Yeah,
The only things PlayStation has the momentum, a little bit of PlayStation momentum, right?
yeah,
A little bit of people who may get it just in case, because the PlayStation 5 shortages were so crazy,
of
right? So people,
course.
there's a
Yes,
couple of that there, but as far as everyone really rushing out, that game, whatever that game is, man, it's already hard. We can't make a great game now, right? You're gonna have to throw multiple. You're gonna have to be the next God of War, the next Last of Us, the next Horizon, the next everything on that console for us to even think about moving over, right? Like
right.
one game won't even do it. It's gonna be a collection again of great exclusives. That's a
Right.
gamble in itself.
They might hope that like Grand Theft Auto 6 kind of runs a little bit shit on
Right.
PS5, so that people are like, and then it's probably gonna run pretty good on a PS5 Pro, I bet. But I bet they'll
Yeah.
be like, oh no, just wait for the PS6 and we'll have a PS6 version of it then. That might be their
Yeah.
best bet, and that's kind of sad that a game that will have
PC.
already been out by then. Yeah,
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 people's gonna go to buy the PC.
and the PC
Yeah.
version will have come out, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be
Yeah,
tough.
yeah. And Xbox is really ugly. I don't know what they're going to do because people don't even want their current Xbox.
Yeah.
Steam, they got to have Steam on it.
Yep. It's all right. The Xbox is just not even part of this conversation, right? It's gonna
Yeah,
be they're gonna want to sell 10 million of those things and be happy with that compared to
yeah,
Xbox 360, which did like 80 million or something like that. It's just a whole different universe that they're in now. All
yeah.
right, last couple of stories here. We have a cousin update, everybody. They're patching cousins in Capcom, Capcom Street Fighter 6. I'll read the headline here from Kenneth. Capcom addresses the Street Fighter 6 incest storyline fans have been losing their minds over. The funniest fighting game patch note of all time will read some variation of, quote, we altered the incest storyline in Alex's backstory. At least that's what it sounds like Street Fighter 6 is doing. Alex, a veteran fighter in Capcom's fighting game series, was added to Street Fighter 6 earlier this month. And while that on its own should be cause for celebration, fans were less enthused by the character's storyline, which included him getting his second cousin and stepsister, Patricia, doing many things with her. They even had a kid on the way. The fandom was sent into a tailspin trying to figure out how to explain this as less weird than it comes off. As even if you debate the legitimacy of the brother-sister relationship, they are definitely still cousins. This is a quote from the team talking about it. We apologize for any confusion that recent topics regarding Alex's story may have caused. While we have not changed the characters' backstories, after internal review by the development team, we plan to revise certain text passages that may have been misleading in the near future. Additionally, we have published a supplementary episode on Buckler's Boot Camp to provide further insight into the characters' emotions and backstories. All right, yeah. Hey, this is weird. And the fact that Capcom kind of at the height of their power right now has to come out and be like, look, we're sorry about the incest. We're not going to get rid of it, but we're going to explain it better. Excuse me? What are you talking about? Yeah, this is a weird story, huh?
Yeah, you mentioned Game of Thrones and the incest just kind of started to manifest.
Yeah, it's big on this
around.
episode for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Capcom
ugly.
will have to explain it themselves here in a little bit. We'll see what that looks like. What do you think?
I have no clue how this is even became a thing. Like,
Yep.
what are we blaming at fault here? Because this is a silly mess up.
It's like unnecessary, right? Yeah, you could just have changed the story from the beginning. I don't know.
All right, guys, I got you on this one because
thank you.
apparently it's worse in the Japanese version. So I think they might start removing language like, and at that moment, I knew she was no longer my sister. They might take some of that stuff out. I'm thinking that might be a good place to start.
Nah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is this Sean? Is this the one where you tell me where it's like there's a scene where it's like, oh, I did. She was no longer my sister, and then in the next scene, it's like a flashback to him holding her when she was a baby or something like that.
Jeff. Oh yeah, they made some custom art for this shit where it shows them through the years of him holding her as a newborn and then them dancing at their wedding.
Oh God.
Oh God. Yeah. Let's make some changes, Capcom. Let's get to work. Chop, chop. Let's get to work. Oh no. All right, let's move on. Jesus Christ. Jack and Daxter fans, prepare to have your heart broken. Basically, Sanzaru, a development team, pitched Sony on remaking Jak and Daxter. They did some spec work where they're like, hey, we're going to rework some of these cutscenes and show what it can look like in a modern engine. And they did a pretty good job. And then apparently there were some conversations and then it never happened. So that's the heartbreak here of if you're waiting for Jak and Daxter to make its return, the eternal hell that you live in continues. You're not going to get that. That's what seems to be happening. Or what? At a certain point, Ronell, they got to start looking to the back catalog a little bit more, right?
Yeah. Don't delete all of the hope. Put your meters up. The market's looking ugly. They're gonna start tapping into that nostalgia. Jak and Dexter's coming. Everything's coming at some point. They gotta throw everything at you. PS6, new Jak and Dexter coming soon.
I think you're right. I would echo all of that. All right, that does it for the headlines, everybody. Let's get through the rest of the stuff we got to do here. We have the poll question from yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. We'll get the results of that right here. Do you have a PC gaming handheld? We wanted to check in on this. I do have one. So do 47% of respondents. Man, that really tells you what kind of audience we have over here. 36% said no, and I don't want one. These are going to be the people happy with their Switches or happy with their consoles. And then 17% say no, but I do plan to get one. Okay, so it's like still some people waiting on the sideline, but man, act now because those prices are just going to keep going up. How about you, Ronell? How are you playing games like these days? Do you have a console that you've always been going to? Have you switched over to Steam? Anything like that?
I got it all. I do it all. Console to PC. I've been having a lot of fun with PC just because games could be cheaper there and you know, a lot of random stuff over there. But I love my Steam Deck to death. It's probably my favorite device since like the PSP, since the Sidekick. Like it's my favorite device. I love the Steam Deck and it's so underpowered. And my screen has a couple of dead pixels on it. But I love it so much. I don't know what it is. It's the feel, the controls, like the touchpad. It's just a great device, and
it just feels magical. Yeah, it's just like they present games in such a forward way of like, you picked up this thing to play a game. We know that. So when you turn it on, let's get you into those games. And it's like, okay, that's like a number one check mark that I need. That's why I like the Switch so much. It's a gaming device. It knows it. That's how it presents itself. And the Steam Deck does that as well. And then the Steam Deck's like, and we're going to give you everything you need to kind of play whatever game you want. And if you want to get free, if you want to get freaky on the desktop mode and start installing emulators, we're going to really supplement that, make sure that's easy to do. Just feels like a thoughtful device. I'm also obsessed with my Steam Deck.
SteamOS is also so good. I love the touchpad, so I can play some random crazy games that doesn't really make sense on that device, and I can make it make sense, especially with the community controls and shit. It's great.
Yes, right, exactly. Just thoughtful from top to bottom. All right, we do not have a new poll question because we are going to be doing the Bomb 12 to end the week. Again, no episode tomorrow, everybody. We're going to be at PAX. We'll get to the Bomb 12 here in a second. We should kind of tap into what we're doing on Giant Bomb here real quick. Today, we are going to be talking over, the Xbox Partner Preview, that event that's happening today. We're going to be talking over that.
That is today.
Yeah, that is today. And then the voicemail dump truck will happen after that. So all that's happening this afternoon. And then tomorrow, we're not going to have any normal programs. Instead, see us at PAX, and that goes through the weekend. All right, with that out of the way, Ronell, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all that good stuff?
For sure. Short form, social media, TikTok, 8-bit closed fist. That's 8-bit closed fist. Just talking about video games every day. I got some long form video game essays dropping. I'm dropping a how to enjoy games in 2026 video essay coming on YouTube. I have a checkpoint to show if you missed G4, like Attack of the Show kind of vibes. It's live. I mean, it's not live, but it's in person at like a old game studio in Burbank called Game Realms. They let us film there after hours. It's really fun. It's cool. It's cool stuff. It's called Checkpoint to Show.
People should go check all this stuff out. Again, Ronell, I love your stuff. Really great follow on social media and elsewhere. So people should make that happen. People are dropping the link in chat. People should get on top of that. Absolutely. All right. I think we got everything out of the way. So what we should probably do now is end the week with the Bomb 12, everybody. These are the 12 games that really matter to people who are really playing games. You all submitted what you've been playing over the last week. And we do have the results right here. Let me go ahead and start with number 12, which is World of Warcraft Midnight. People checking out the expansion there. Number 11 is Mugenics, which I think popped off the chart last week, so it's popping back on here. That game apparently is going to be coming to console here in the future. I bet it will come back on the list at that moment. Number 10 is Esoteric Ebb. Number 9 is Warframe. Number 8 is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, making a reappearance on the chart. Number 7, Resident Evil Requiem. Number 6 is Monster Hunter Stories 3. Then Death Stranding 2 at number 5. Number 4 is Crimson Desert, which has not cracked the top 3 yet, which I also think says something about our audience. A lot of people playing that game, but not necessarily everyone in our audience, but still quite a few people. Number 3, though, in the top 3, we have Slay the Spire 2, then Pokemon Pocopia dropping from 1 to 2 this week. And number 1 going from 2 to 1 is Marathon, as I think the word of mouth on that game just continues to spread. And regardless of whatever it's doing with its budget versus what it's selling, it's succeeding as far as the audience who's playing it is concerned. And it's, yes, and its ability to sort of attract like those people's friends, right? They start saying, I'm having a good time. You should come play this with me. That I think is working, and it could work over time. So I'm getting the itch to go back and check out more Marathon. I kind of want to do the single player side of it, of like you go and you play as the Rook or whatever and go in by yourself. That's how I used to play PUBG. Cool. And I've heard people say it's like very similar of like it's like could feel like a horror film of like everything is scary. It's like that's what I like. So I'm gonna give that a shot myself.
Yeah, that's a good top 12. I like this audience.
Yeah, people are tapped in. They know what they're doing. Thank you everybody for submitting your game. If you want to contribute to the Bomb 12 next week, excuse me, I'll get the form link updated on giantbomb.com. Just scroll down a little bit. You'll see this week's Bomb 12. You'll see a vote here link over to the left. Submit your game. We'll get the results next Friday. All right. With all that out of the way, I think it's time to wrap up this show, wrap up the week. We'll see you all at PAX. Ronell, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. Really appreciate it.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. We'll make it happen again. Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.